Ever imagine getting mugged, like actually mugged, but by a monkey?
Yeah.
Or picture this. A shark, not just any shark, a great white, photobombs you and snatches your catch right off the line.
Wow.
That's just the tip of the iceberg, the crazy stories we're diving into today.
Sound wild.
It is wild. We're exploring a Listverse article, Top 10 Insane Moments When Animals Robbed People. And it's packed with surprises, some funny, some a bit scary, but all fascinating.
I can't wait.
Yeah, and we love to go deeper than just the headlines here, right?
Absolutely.
So we're going to unpack the why behind these animal heists.
Yeah, get into the minds of these animal bandits.
Exactly. What does it tell us about animal intelligence, how they learn, and maybe even how they see us?
Interesting.
Okay, first up, this family fishing trip near Cape Cod. Picture this. Dad's reeling in a base. Pretty typical fishing day, right?
Yeah, picture perfect.
But as they're pulling it in, a great white shark, I'm talking massive, leaps out of the water, snatches the fish midair, does a full somersault, and disappears back into the waves.
That's something out of a movie.
Totally. And this wasn't just a hungry shark grabbing a quick meal.
Right. Great white sharks, they're at the top of the food chain, but they're usually cautious around boats, This one was bold, almost like it was putting on a show. And get this, it nearly hit a kid with its tail on the way down.
Oh, man, that's a close call.
Seriously.
Definitely makes you think twice about who's really in charge out there in the ocean. All right, let's shift gears from dramatic ocean scenes to something a bit more, quirky.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
We're going to Berlin, where a fox was basically running a shoe-stealing ring.
A fox. Stealing shoes.
Yeah. And not just a couple of shoes. This fox had a stash of nearly 100 shoes.
Wow, that's a commitment.
Right. But here's the weird part. It seemed to have a preference for Crocs.
Crocs, really?
Out of all the shoes in Berlin, Crocs.
You'd think a fox would go for, something more natural, like leather.
Yeah, you'd think, right.
So this goes beyond just basic survival needs.
Right.
Some experts believe foxes are drawn to objects that visually stimulate them.
Okay.
Maybe it's the bright colors of the Crocs or the way they feel in their mouths. This actually relates to something called object fixation, which is often seen in dogs. But we don't have as much research on foxes.
So it could be instinct, but also maybe a form of play, or even like a weird fox aesthetic preference.
It's possible.
That is fascinating. But, all right, from stolen shoes to a story that's a bit unsettling, and this one hits close to home considering recent events.
Oh.
A monkey in India decided to target a lab technician.
Okay.
And what he stole was no laughing matter. He got away with blood samples from COVID-19 patients.
That's not good.
No, not good at all. And it really highlights the complex and sometimes tense relationship we have with urban wildlife. We're encroaching on their habitats, and they're adapting in ways that, sometimes we just don't see coming.
Right.
And, to add insult to injury, the poor lab technician, he got in trouble for filming the monkey instead of raising the alarm right away.
Oh, no.
Yeah, can you imagine trying to explain that to your boss? Sir, a monkey stole my COVID samples.
It's kind of hard to believe.
It sounds crazy, but it happened. And beyond the absurdity of it all, this incident raises serious concerns about, potential disease transmission and the need for better ways to manage these interactions with wildlife, especially in crowded cities.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, from a monkey with, let's say, questionable taste in loot to a bird with a knack for technology. This one's out of Tokyo. A crow was caught stealing a credit card from a ticket machine.
A crow.
Yeah, a crow. And crows are incredibly intelligent.
Yeah.
They're known for their problem-solving skills and ability to learn just by watching.
Right.
There's even research showing that crows can be trained to use vending machines to get food.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So it's possible this crow in Tokyo had seen people using credit cards and thought, hey, I can do that too.
Makes you wonder if he was trying to buy a ticket somewhere.
Or maybe it was just drawn to the shiny plastic.
Could be.
But either way, it's a great example of how animals, especially in urban areas, are constantly adapting and learning from us.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, how much do they really understand about the things we use every day?
That's a good question.
Okay, now if you thought a crow with a credit card was impressive, wait till you hear about this. A bear with a serious sweet tooth. This one broke into a home in California for M&Ms.
M&Ms. Seriously?
No joke. And this wasn't a first-time offender. This bear had already broken into this house multiple times, even though the homeowners had tried to bear-proof their property.
Persistent.
Oh, yeah. But this time, get this, he squeezed through a tiny kitchen window to get those M&Ms.
No way.
The security footage is hilarious. You can see him carefully removing the mesh covering the window before, like, worming his way inside.
He knew what he wanted.
Oh, he knew. It's funny, but it's also a reminder that we need to be mindful of how we store food and secure our homes, especially in areas where bears are common.
For sure.
These encounters can be dangerous. We're in their territory, and they're just following their instincts.
Makes sense.
Okay, this next one isn't exactly a theft, but it's definitely a case of getting caught red-handed. Or maybe orange-winged.
I have no idea.
We're talking about a seagull who took a dive into a vat of chicken tikka masala.
Oh, no.
You can imagine the scene, right? This poor gull ends up bright orange from head to toe.
Poor thing.
Rescuers had to give him a good scrub before releasing him back into the wild.
I bet he smelled amazing, though.
Right. It's a funny image, but it brings up a serious point. Wildlife is drawn to food in urban areas, but it can be risky for them.
Yeah.
They can get injured, get lost, or even eat things that are harmful.
Very true.
So it's a good reminder to be responsible with our food waste and try to create cities that are safe for both us and our wild neighbors. Well, if you thought a bear breaking in for M&Ms was impressive, get ready for this. An ant caught on camera seemingly stealing a diamond.
An ant stealing a diamond?
You heard that right. It's almost unbelievable, but the video shows this tiny ant struggling to lift a diamond that's, like, almost as big as it is.
No way.
It's like a slow-motion heist movie, and you're rooting for the ant the whole time until, bam, the video cuts off abruptly.
So we don't know if he made it?
We'll never know if he got away with it. Now, it was probably unintentional. Ants are incredibly strong, and they're always foraging for stuff, but it's still fun to imagine this little ant pulling off the heist of the century.
I love that image.
Right. It makes me think about another unlikely burglar, a cat named Dennis.
Okay.
This cat became famous for stealing, wait for it, underwear.
What?
Yeah, underwear. Dennis was an equal opportunity thief, bags, shoes, shirts, but his real specialty was boxer shorts.
I've never heard of a cat burglar specializing in underwear.
It's a new one.
Okay.
But the cool thing is his owners totally embraced his little kleptomania. They even started a YouTube channel for Dennis's, exploits. They collected the stolen items, washed them, and sold them to raise money for a cat shelter.
That's a great idea.
Right, turning a negative into a positive. But as for why Dennis was so obsessed with underwear, well...
Who knows what goes on in the mind of a cat?
Exactly. Cats steal stuff for all sorts of reasons. Playing, hunting instincts, maybe even trying to get attention. It reminds us that animal behavior can be pretty complex, and we don't always get it.
I hear you.
Well, from land-based loot, let's dive back underwater for a story that features a giant Pacific octopus who, get this, decided to turn the tables on a photographer. He stole the photographer's camera and started taking pictures.
Wow.
I know. Octopuses are known for their intelligence and dexterity.
Yeah.
This one snatched the camera right out of the diver's hand. I mean, talk about a bold move. And managed to snap a few blurry pictures, mostly of its own tentacles.
Octopus selfies.
Octopus selfies, exactly. It makes you wonder what else these creatures are capable of.
They're incredibly smart.
Right. And they have such complex nervous systems and problem-solving abilities. It's like a reminder that the ocean is full of mysteries we're only just beginning to understand.
Absolutely.
Okay, ready for our final heist. This one takes us to Bali, where monkeys have turned theft into a lucrative, wait for it, bartering system.
Bartering monkeys.
Bartering monkeys. These long-tailed macaques, they hang out at the Uluwatu temple, and they're notorious for targeting tourists, stealing sunglasses, hats, anything they can grab.
So they're like little pickpockets.
Expert pickpockets. But here's the thing. They don't just steal and run. They wait for the tourists to approach, often with a temple staff member acting as like a mediator.
Wow.
And then they barter. They hold the stolen item hostage and only give it back in exchange for food, usually something sweet like a piece of fruit or candy.
So they're not stealing just to steal. They're stealing to get something they want.
Exactly. And what's amazing is that this behavior, it's not instinctual. It's learned and passed down through generations.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's a form of cultural transmission, which shows that primates, just like us, can develop these complex social behaviors and traditions.
Fascinating.
It's kind of impressive and a bit unsettling at the same time.
I agree.
These monkeys, they're basically little entrepreneurs figuring out a way to exploit a situation to their advantage. It really makes you wonder what other complex behaviors we might discover as we keep studying the animal world.
For sure.
Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up part one of our deep dive. We'll be back in just a moment to continue exploring these fascinating animal heists and what they reveal about the incredible minds of our fellow creatures.
Welcome back to our deep dive into these crazy animal heists.
Yeah, where we're seeing just how smart and resourceful our animal neighbors can be.
And maybe, making us rethink what we even mean by smart when it comes to animals.
Totally. So, to kick things off, let's go back underwater to a creature that's already known for its intelligence and problem-solving skills. The octopus?
Ah, yes. This story involves a giant Pacific octopus, a diver, and a camera that ends up, well, let's just say, not where it's supposed to be.
Okay, set the scene for us. What went down?
So you've got this diver exploring the Pacific Northwest, hoping to get some amazing photos of, you guessed it, a giant Pacific octopus.
Classic.
Right. And he gets his chance. This huge octopus comes out of its den, and as the diver raises his camera, well, the octopus has other ideas.
Uh-oh. Did it attack?
Not exactly. It reaches out with those crazy fast tentacles, grabs the camera, and swims off with it.
No way. Talk about a photo op gone wrong. Did the diver ever get his camera back?
He did, but it was a fight. This octopus was strong, like surprisingly strong, and really didn't want to give up the camera. But here's the amazing part.
Yeah.
When the diver finally gets his camera back and develops the film, there are pictures on it. Blurry pictures, but pictures nonetheless.
Hold on, are you telling me the octopus took selfies?
Octopus selfies. It's wild. The pictures weren't, prize-winning or anything, but they give us a peek into the mind of this octopus. Octopuses, they're known for being able to manipulate objects, solve puzzles, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They have these intricate nervous systems, great eyesight, and they're incredibly dexterous. Who knows? Maybe this octopus was just curious about the camera, or maybe it actually understood on some level what it was for.
It really makes you wonder what else they're capable of.
Right. It's like we're just scratching the surface of their intelligence.
Definitely makes you think. Okay, so from the depths of the ocean, let's head to the bustling temples of Bali.
Okay.
Our next heist stars a group of monkeys who have turned theft into a pretty sophisticated bartering system.
Bartering monkeys. What will they think of next?
These long-tailed macaques, they've become kind of infamous for their clever thievery.
I can imagine.
And they've turned it into an art, really.
So like a monkey protection racket.
Kinda, yeah. They've figured out that tourists, especially those who are, distracted by the scenery at the Uluwatu temple, are easy targets.
Makes sense. So how does it work? How do they pull it off?
Okay, so these monkeys, they work in gangs, targeting tourists for their sunglasses, hats, cameras, even snacks, you name it.
Bold.
Oh, yeah. But here's the thing. They don't just grab the stuff and run. They wait for the tourists to come to them, often with a temple staff member acting as a go-between.
So it's like a hostage negotiation.
Yeah.
But with monkeys.
Exactly. And then comes the bartering. They'll hold the stolen item hostage and only return it when they get what they want. A tasty treat, usually something sweet like fruit or a candy bar.
Wow, so they're not just mindlessly stealing. They're using what they steal to get something else.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating is that this behavior isn't like hardwired. It's learned and passed down through generations. It's a form of cultural transmission, which shows that primates like us can develop complex social behaviors and traditions.
It's like a monkey school of crime.
Right. It makes you wonder, do the younger monkeys go through some kind of apprenticeship, learning the tricks of the trade from the older, more experienced ones?
That's an interesting thought. We still have so much to learn about how these behaviors are passed on.
For sure. But one thing's clear. These monkeys are adaptable, they're smart, and they figured out a way to thrive in an environment that includes, a lot of unsuspecting tourists.
They're playing the long game.
Yeah.
Okay, from primate negotiators to a heist that's almost too incredible to believe.
Okay, hit me.
This one involves a tiny thief with a taste for bling. We're talking about an ant who seemingly made off with a diamond.
An ant? And a diamond. You're kidding?
Nope. This one went viral, and you can see why. The footage is incredible.
So what happened? Break it down for us.
Picture a diamond sparkling on a jeweler's workbench, and this tiny ant, no bigger than a grain of rice, spots it.
I'm already hooked.
Right. This ant goes right up to the diamond and starts trying to move it, like it's determined to take this thing.
Wait, a tiny ant trying to steal a diamond? That seems impossible.
It does, but the video doesn't lie. The ant struggles, but somehow it manages to lift this diamond, which is huge compared to it, and starts carrying it away.
Did it get away? Did it pull it off?
That's the big question. The video cuts off before we see the ending, Maybe the ant made off with the score of the century, or maybe it dropped the diamond along the way. We'll never know.
Even if it was an accident, the sheer strength of this little ant is amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Ants are known for being able to carry things way heavier than themselves.
Right.
They're also incredibly organized, working together to achieve amazing things. So even if this diamond heist was a fluke, it still shows us just how powerful these tiny creatures can be.
Love it. Okay, so from a diamond heist to a crime of passion, this next story features a cat burglar with a very particular target. Underwear.
Underwear.
Underwear. This is the tale of Dennis, a cat from Bedfordshire, England, who became infamous for his unique thieving habits.
I'm intrigued. What made Dennis so special in the world of cat burglars, that is?
Well, lots of cats like to steal small objects.
Yeah.
Dennis was different. He had a thing for undergarments. He'd sneak into neighbors' houses, completely ignore the usual cat toys or shiny objects, and make off with their underwear.
Seriously? Underwear. Of all the things.
I know, right? His owners were baffled at first, but they eventually realized, okay, Dennis is a kleptomaniac, and his thing is underwear. They even started a YouTube channel and social media accounts dedicated to Dennis's adventures, showing off his heists and the ever-growing pile of stolen underwear.
That's amazing. So what did they do about it? Did they try to stop him?
Nope, they embraced it. But they took it a step further. They collected all the stolen items, washed and organized them, and then held a sale, donating all the money to a local cat shelter.
That's awesome. Talk about turning a negative into a positive.
Huh?
But do we know why Dennis was so fixated on underwear?
Sadly, we can't ask Dennis directly, so we can only guess.
Right.
Cats steal things for all sorts of reasons. Playing, hunting instincts, maybe even wanting attention. Maybe Dennis just liked the feel of cotton or the scent of laundry detergent.
It's like he had his own little fetish.
Maybe. But it reminds us that animal behavior can be really complex, and sometimes we'll just never understand it completely.
True enough. Okay, from land-based loot, let's go back underwater for our next story. This one features a seagull. A seagull who developed a craving for curry. It's the saga of the tikka masala seagull.
The tikka masala seagull. Okay, you've got to tell me more.
This one's funny and a bit of a cautionary tale. It shows the risks animals face when they come into cities looking for food.
Okay, paint us a picture. What happened to this seagull?
Imagine a busy street in the UK, a food factory with these huge vats of, bright orange chicken tikka masala cooling outside.
Okay, I'm with you.
And this hungry seagull comes along, sees this vat, and thinks, ooh, a tasty treat. Maybe he thought it was a giant pool of something delicious.
Oh no, did he fall in?
He did. And, well, you can imagine the result. A seagull covered, head to toe, in bright orange curry sauce. When rescuers found him, he was a mess. Feathers stained orange, and the smell, well, must have been something else.
Poor guy. I can only imagine the work it took to clean all that curry off.
It was a big job, for sure. But they managed to get him cleaned up and released back into the wild. I bet he steers clear of brightly colored vats from now on.
I bet. It's a good reminder that we need to be more aware of how our actions can affect wildlife, especially in cities.
Definitely.
Simple things like securing our garbage, not feeding wild animals, and designing cities in a way that minimizes risks for animals can make a big difference.
I totally agree. We need to be better neighbors to the animals we share our space with.
Well said. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up part 2 of our deep dive. Join us in just a moment for the final part, where we'll look at some of the bigger themes and insights we've uncovered from these incredible animal heists. All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the world of animal heists.
Time to step back from the individual stories and think about what they tell us about the animals we share this planet with.
We've seen sharks going airborne for snacks, monkeys running bartering schemes, even a cat burglar obsessed with underwear.
It's been wild. So what are some of the bigger lessons here?
Yeah, what stands out to you?
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is the sheer diversity of animal intelligence. We tend to think of intelligence in very human-centric ways.
Right, like using tools or solving math problems.
Exactly. But these stories show us that animals can be smart in ways we don't always recognize or appreciate.
We've seen incredible problem-solving, adaptability, even something that looks a lot like economic strategy in those bartering monkeys.
Right. It challenges our assumptions about which animals are smart and which aren't. Take that crow with the credit card, for example. We could dismiss it as just a random quirky thing, but crows are incredibly observant learners.
Yeah, they watch us, they figure things out.
Exactly. And they're capable of some pretty complex reasoning. It's like they're figuring out the rules of our world and finding ways to use them to their advantage.
They're hacking the system.
That's a great way to put it. And it's not just about individual smarts either. Think about those monkeys in Bali. Their bartering system is more than just individual monkeys being clever. It's a form of cultural transmission, knowledge being passed down through generations.
Like a monkey tradition.
Exactly. A level of social complexity we usually think of as uniquely human. It's pretty humbling.
Yeah, we're not the only ones with complex cultures and traditions.
Not at all. And it underscores the point that these animals have their own inner lives, their own goals and motivations.
They're not just reacting to us or their environment, they're shaping it.
Exactly. They're making choices, learning from experience, and even, in some cases, manipulating their surroundings to get what they want.
Speaking of shaping the environment, a lot of these stories take place where human and animal worlds are overlapping more and more in cities, in tourist destinations.
That's a really important point. As humans continue to expand our footprint, the opportunities for interaction and sometimes conflict with wildlife are only going to increase.
Yeah, the bear breaking into the house for M&Ms, the seagull taking a curry dip, funny stories, but they highlight that we need to be more aware of our impact.
Absolutely. Finding ways to coexist peacefully, creating spaces that are safe for both humans and animals is essential.
It's about being good neighbors, respecting boundaries.
Right. Understanding animal behavior, taking steps to minimize the potential for negative encounters, it all matters. We have a responsibility to share this planet in a way that benefits everyone.
So if there's one key message you want our listeners to take away from this deep dive, what would it be?
I'd say approach the animal world with curiosity and an open mind. These stories of animal heists, they're more than just quirky anecdotes. They give us a glimpse into the amazing diversity of intelligence and behavior out there.
There's so much we still don't know.
Exactly. And that's what makes studying animals so exciting. It's a reminder to never underestimate the creatures we share this world with.
They might just surprise us.
They often do. Pay attention, observe, and you never know what you might discover. And hey, maybe you'll even witness an animal heist firsthand. Just remember to keep a safe distance and appreciate the ingenuity of our animal friends.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride through the world of animal heists. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration of the natural world.